Welcome back to the ongoing series that is the Salmon Mauthe clock. Why is it called Salmon? Because that's the colour of the case. I know it's more of a pink actually. I mean, salmon is a kind of pink, isn't it, really? So I guess it's still salmon. But yeah, ooh, what was that? That was my phone falling out my pocket. Yeah, reassemble the movement from last time. Contrary to what I said I wouldn't put the balance wheel in it and stuff in. I did actually put it into test, and it does run upright. I haven't oiled it or anything. It does run upright, which is a good sign, and it didn't stop until I took the balance wheel out again, which is about 4 hours. That's why the time spring is a bit unwound there. But yeah, really powerful spring, does a good job, and I'm really happy with how this turned out, clean-wise. So, now that our thing here is hardened, there it is. Oh, autofocus for once. Now this is pretty hard. It's good enough to put back in. So I'll just show you. It's the same as it was, I think. I don't think it's gone badly at all. Lots of friction, not a lot of friction on there at all. So it should still do the job. And I'm just so amazed and happy that we got out of that situation. So, all positives. I'll put it in there. What's happened to that? I don't know. So yeah, reassembly time. And reason I didn't put the balance wheel in, because that's quite a fragile part. I'd rather start with the alarm stuff, where I will be needing a hammer probably to put this bush on, which is a real pain to get off. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a pain to put back on again. So let's start with that. So turn our attention to this side of the movement, and we will need the motion work, I guess. Which orders go in? I think it's usually this one first. Let's move that out of the way. This one first. I'll zoom in a bit. Remember, this is not a tutorial. Then this one, then the alarm one, I think, usually. So, put this through there as it should be. Like that. There's a bit of a rough spot on there somewhere. It doesn't really matter too much. So then I put it in, and we will have some washers going on. So I'll just push this through to see if it goes in. Remember, it was slightly difficult to take out, unsurprisingly. So it should be difficult to put back in. So yeah, there were washers. There was one washer underneath. Oh, always dropping those things. What's the best camera angle for this? Not a bad one actually here. Oh, it's gone through already, but yeah, this should have some washers on it. So there's one here before it goes through the plate. Then there's a pin or something, and then there's one after it's gone through the plate. And I'm worried that worried that it's going to get stuck behind that wheel there. So it's on top of the wheel, which is good. You can see that washer in there, and then another one like that. Just get this all the way in. And then our springy thingy, and then we'll drive that bush on there. So, fingers crossed it all goes to plan, and I will prep the hammer area for this. So now we're in that area, the hammer area. Apologies if the filming's a bit weird, I don't normally film here, but here we go. So I'll move that a little bit. So this is like a sort of thing I can use to get around that post. So I'll be putting this on here, like that, and then hammering it down to drive that on. And hopefully that should work, so I'll just get the hammer. Alright, I've got the hammer. So to avoid the camera getting destroyed, I will move it back a little bit. Like that. That's better. And hopefully it will not destroy the tip of that thing with the hangers on, but I don't really have an option. Alright, so that's done part way. It's worked. That bush has gone down. Probably needs to go down a little bit more, I think. So I will put that pin in now, just so it's in there. So welcome back. Time to put the pin in. I might even see if this fits, and this is the bit of the alarm finger that broke. So if this fits, that'll be amazing. I'll use the thinner tweezers. I don't know if it will or not, but if it did, that'd be pretty cool. So, put it in. Sorry if it's off camera, but it's a fiddly thing. Oh, it actually does fit. I'm amazed. Right, that fits in there. I don't know if you can see it. Little pin spinning around. I'm going to need a way to sort of bend it, just to stop it from falling out. So I'll just grab either side of that pin. I'll zoom you in. Yeah, that pin. I will grab it. It's annoying, it could have come out of place. Right, there we go. Alright, can I bend it, or is it too fragile? Fragile reptile. Oop, nearly. Bit of a annoying job, but the original thing that was in here broke because it wasn't a pin, it was folded over a bit of metal. I think this is probably too brittle and hard, so I will get something slightly softer. So I've actually got this paper clip here, and I think that might be the right kind of thing. It's soft enough to bend, but I think it's got some sort of hard qualities to it as well. So I'll break a bit off, like that, and bend one end, like that, so it doesn't fall out. And I will put this in. If this will fit, that'll be great. Well, it fits, that's pretty good. So I just need to bend over the other end. Very fiddly job. Trying to get those pliers in there. Right, I did it. Okay, if you can see in there, that pin is bent around. And it should not come out again. Oh wait, no it's not bent around the right way. Tell you what, why didn't I do it like that? That should be easier, shouldn't it? Going on from the top. That's miles easier. It's frustrating. Difficult to do it on camera. I mean, you get the idea of what I'm trying to do, so I'll probably do it off camera actually, and then get back to you when I've done it. Alright, I'm glad I did it off camera because that took quite a while, but I have bent that paperclip bit around and hopefully that should do the same job that original piece of metal did. Got the remnants of it over here. Very similar, but yeah. We should be good to drive that on a little bit more, I think, get more tension in there. So I'll just move over to the hammering zone again. Okay, so here we are, ready for more action. Alright. Okay, I mean, it still feels a little bit loose to turn. However, it's not as loose as it was, and let me zoom out a bit. I can turn the hands without turning the alarm, which is basically what the job of the tension thing is anyway. So I think that's working pretty well. If you look at that pin up there, the alarm pin finger which we created, it's not turning, which is good, because if it was, then the alarm wouldn't work properly. But it's quite stiff to turn the hands. Not somebody. I think it's, it's not a big problem. If you can turn them, you can turn them. But the main problem is this, which is not a problem, which is great. And really happy with how that homemade pin glides over that thing really well. I thought it would get stuck on little pits and bumps, but actually it does a really good job of it. So I will not complain. So we got that alarm together. Last things to do really are the hammer that can go in, and this washer can go on. Not washer, sort of a clip really, isn't it? That can go on. These are a real tricky thing not to break. I don't know what they're called, but you put them on, like vertically, and then you squeeze them. Not the best design I can think of, to be honest. I think the circlips are better because you can take them on and put them off without bending anything, and therefore they'll probably break less. But we got it on, I think. Yeah, we got it on without breaking it, which is amazing, if you ask me. I've very rarely managed to do that. Not because I'm not good at it or anything. Well, partly that, but also because these always break, and they're annoying. But we did it. So time for the alarm hammer, then the balance wheel. Then we should be good to put this back in the case, which will be the next episode because this one's getting pretty long. So we'll just undo these nuts very slightly. There's not much I can do in terms of stretch the plates because the alarm's in there at the moment, and that is pretty much in there solid. So this one on the outside. That shouldn't be hard to do because they've given us a bit of an extra brass sort of tongue on there, which means that you can bend that part of the plate slightly, which is quite convenient when it comes to putting the hammer in, because a lot of the times you have to put the hammer in after you've done everything else. So I can sort of put that down a bit and then get it in there. Hopefully that'll work. Bit of an annoying job, hang on a minute. Might have to use pliers to get that alarm in there. See that hammer, trying to get that pivot in. Nearly there, yeah, there we go, did it. Is this correct? Well, there's only one way to find out. This should alarm. Right, it's on repeat at the moment. Oh no, it's not. It's on... Oh, it's alarm, not the alarm time. That makes sense. So this is how you turn the alarm off. Let's not put that on for now. And remember it had that key on the alarm knob, which is not really correct? Well, I found the only thing I could find is this, which is not much better, but at least it's not a key. And this fits on that thread. But I didn't have any big enough or small enough alarm things. So we've got a little bit of stuff to play around with there on that little extension there. This should be clear now, but it's not quite clear, so I will bend it a little bit, because sometimes you just got to bend stuff. Is that enough? That looks like it's enough. Could it be slightly more actually? Let's try that. I don't want it touching solely. Is that? It's barely clear. It's barely got this. Yeah, I'll move it a bit more. One tiny bit. Alright, let's try that. Yeah, that's much better. It's real clear of it now. So, any risk of this? No, that's all good. So, we've got the alarm in. Will I do the balance wheel now? I probably should. Then we'll have a complete movement. So yeah, alarm off, time off. Alarm off, time on. Alarm on, time on. And alarm on, time off. Perfect, all the conditions are met for this alarm to be working. Now for the repeat, just quickly check that. So, you'll be able to see this repeat lever go up and down slightly when I advance the time just by waggling this back and forth a few times. Because this is basically what the balance wheel does, and it makes the time go forward. So let's keep an eye on that repeat lever there. And it is off. On. Off. That's quite a nice short repeat period, which is great because it's more of an advantage and less consuming of alarm. I mean, the alarm will last longer if it does it for a short burst and then a long wait, compared to a short wait and a long burst. So I think we can do the balance wheel now. Let's get our balance wheel, which is over here. Careful. Big old, I think it's a brass hairspring. I don't know what they're usually made of. Some kind of steel, I think. And that's what Greg from Gregola Horology Club told me. And that makes perfect sense because apparently hairsprings can get magnetised, which is something you really don't want. So he's got himself a demagnetizer. I'll be interested to see what that does. So, yeah, this is a bit tight to tighten, so I will tighten it up a little bit beforehand, like that, quarter turn. Alright, that's good. Try and tighten it up whilst holding it, which is not easy. Alright, there we go. So that is in there. Last thing I need to do is change the lighting. That's better, I think. Yeah. Pin the spring in. So, if you can see, this is a nice friendly design of regulator where it's actually open at the top. If you can see there, it's not like a closed loop, it's like a U shape. So I can put that in afterwards, so I don't need to really bother about the pin in stud at the moment, which is that brass bit. So I will just carefully try and get that hairspring in there. You do not want to kink a hairspring, because once you do, you'll never get it quite right. Well, sometimes you might, but it's hard to. So always try and avoid touching it, unless it's, unless you really know what you're doing, which I half of the time don't. So let's get this in. And I remember there was quite a big tail on it when I first got it, so I may as well leave a bit of a tail afterwards. Okay, so if you can see, it's not quite in straight, maybe that's the pinning. You want it to be perfectly flat, ideally. Yeah, that was the pinning. Alright, let's do it differently. Alright, that's better. So I will move the outer coil into the regulator, like nearly. Like, oh. Not really a tweezer job, this. It's more of a, well, probably will be a tweezer job now. Unless I can do it. Oop. Yeah, tweezer job. Right, I'll get that outer coil very, very carefully. There we go. Aha, look at that. Right, let's just quickly give it a bit of an adjust. to make it nice and circular. And it looks like it's not focused. It looks like it's working. I haven't oiled it yet. Just move the regulator side to side just to see if it ruins anything. And then we can tighten it up. So that's pretty flat for a hairspring. It's not perfectly flat, but considering I don't want to be bending it any more than it is, just to correct that tiny bit, I don't want to run the risk of completely ruining it. So the old classic of tighten it up until it stops, and then back off a quarter to half a turn. There we go, that did the trick. And I know it's a long episode, but I may as well oil it anyway. So oil there. And never trust someone whose oil is not stained with oil. There. That's a life trick. And get some of that in there. Fill your boots. I know it stopped. That's because I stopped it with my screwdriver. And some in there as well. Alright, now for oil part 2, which is, I know people say don't oil this bit. I'm gonna do it. Here as well. May as well oil everything that can be oiled in terms of pivots. Do this side first. Because I want to prevent wear as much as possible. And yes, I'm one of the people who oils the alarm parts, because who doesn't, you know? They're there to be oiled. Why not oil them? Put some on the old escape wheel. There. And there. Sorry, you can't see that. It looks like it's running upside down as well, which is pretty good. I mean, the aim of this, the whole thing of this channel, is just to get these clocks running again. And I think I've got a pretty good success rate with that, and this is no exception. So all it needs now is to do the test of time. Right, I'll spread that around. So yeah, the test of time, just to see if it will run for a day. And if it does, then that's all good. But I think we know pretty much it's going to anyway. But I will report back to you with an update when it's done that. So next episode, we'll be putting in the case, and then I won't do the testing yet. I'll do that after I put it back in the case, because then I can do the timekeeping at the same time. Sorry about the long episode, but hopefully now it was worth it. And you might be thinking, that balance wheel's not swinging very much, and I think you're right. So I'll just undo it a little bit. That's better. Bearing in mind, it is quite a big, heavy balance wheel in there. So, see you next time for more Mauthe.